Good morning. Welcome to Morning Coffee with Jen. I am finally back. I have a fancy new yoga ball. I found a yellow one, which is really irrelevant. It's comfy. That's the point. I tried sitting on the stool for a few days. It did not go well. It was a bad time. Everything hurt. There's a reason I use a yoga ball for a desk chair, and there's also a reason why I would highly, highly recommend it to everybody. Just be careful for the first day. Like, hold on to something when you sit because it takes a bit of practice, but it's really wonderful once you get used to it. So I'm here. I have the weather website up here. I wanted to take a look at the weather because it's relevant to what I'm doing. So if you take a look here, I live in Canada. All these temperatures are in Celsius. I happen to be in Saskatoon, and it's pretty chilly this morning. I had a good walk with the kids. We went over to my mom's place. And I know what you're thinking now. Wait, you walked in that? And yeah, that's what my kids said too. But they were fine. We dressed for it. It was good. One of the challenges, and one of the reasons I wanted to pull this up, one of the challenges with having this kind of weather, because like we're in it now, this is going to be warm for the next little while, and then it's going to go to minus 40, and then it's going to go to minus 50, and it's going to be chilly. One of the challenges is finding appropriate winter gear, both for adults and children. So I wanted to leave a review for one of the kids' things that I found that is actually awesome. And I don't know, give some proper etiquette for anybody who's a parent who wants to review winter things for kids. So first off, I have coffee. It's a Kenya AAA coffee, which tells me AAA is a grade, so it's not a varietal at all. This tells me that it's a commodity market coffee, so it was whatever they could get the cheapest. It looked good when I ground it. It sniffs good when I smell it, so I think it's probably going to be pretty tasty. I am mildly disappointed that it's a commodity coffee. There's nothing wrong with commodity coffee, but the farmers don't benefit nearly as much. That's really it. Yeah, it's delicious. Highly, highly would recommend it. Wish I knew that it came from a single farm instead, because I like helping people with my things that I purchase. However, okay, coffee's good. Got that settled. So where do I get the warm winter stuff for the kids? Land's End. An American company. You don't need to necessarily know 20 different things about me. You're going to learn 20 different things about me here real quick. Let's see here. Yeah, there. Put my password in without me having to remember it. Thank you. So I'm going to look at some past orders here and find the thing that I ordered and write a review. So where is it? Well, I guess I could review the boots too, but I mean, I think I did that already. I think it came with one of these. That's the problem. That this order came in chunks, and so I'm not sure which chunk it came with. Was it this chunk? No. They have lots of good stuff, but they also have very good winter stuff, and that's kind of what I'm all about, is the good quality winter stuff, the warmth. It's all about the warmth, really. Okay, maybe it's the third one. Maybe it came with the skirt. Did it? I'm looking for a black balaclava, in case anybody's curious. There it is. Kids Fleece Balaclava Face Mask. Sure. Okay, so now I want to write a review about that because it needs more reviews. The reviews I read were okay. Oh, what? Is this going to be like the one time that the website doesn't work? Their website is a thing. I mean, anybody who has ever dealt with retail websites knows that this is a thing, but this is like beyond. Okay, so I'm going to try doing it this way instead because this is obnoxious as heck. Okay, Maybe now I can write the review. Can I? No, it's not going to let me. It seriously is not going to let me. Well, okay. That is about as disappointing as it gets. I'm not going to bother. No, there's a button. Maybe this button will work. Will it? No. Of course not. Anyway, the review that I would write about this product, if I could, Happy New Year, Bear Token. If I could write a review about this product, I would tell them that it is absolutely astounding that it keeps my child's face warm when it is minus 38 degrees Celsius with a wind chill of approximately minus 46. We tested it. We tested it in the winter, in the wind, and she was warm. So that's incredible. It's thin fleece. I don't know how they do it. Maybe it was the coat, which also happens to come from this company. But anyway, if you need a balaclava for your child, this one is one I would recommend. As far as I know, they ship all over the world. And if you order enough stuff, the shipping is included. It can get expensive. Right now, there's a big sale. And I don't normally pitch places. I'm not normally the person who's all like, buy their shit. But this stuff's actually quite good quality. I have had a coat that I got at Land's End, I don't even know, like 10 years ago, 5 years ago, something like that, 7 years ago. I had it, I was wearing it on my son's first birthday, so it's at least 9 years ago. It's warm as heck. It lasts. It's really good quality. Like, I'm out there at minus 50 before the wind chill is factored in. Every day, walking, having a good time. So if you need good winter stuff, this is your place. So now that I can't write a review, which is disappointing, and their boots are good too, by the way. If you live in a nice northern cold climate and you need good boots for kids, this is the place to go. And I mean, I can say their adult stuff is good. It's not that hard to find good adult stuff for minus 50, but kids stuff can be really tricky. Their stuff is quality stuff. It is warm as heck. My kids their only complaint, I'm too hot. And if that's what they're complaining about when it's minus 50 and we've been outside for half an hour, awesome, I'm doing my job. So yeah, that's that. Welcome back. It is almost the new year, so I thought it might be fun to take a look and see who's got these year in review things out, because that's always interesting. So there's there's a place I'd like to look through first though, because it usually has some really fun stuff. It's a Reddit. Let's see what this turns up here. There we go. Subreddit called Not the Onion. If you are not on Reddit, that's cool. You do you, I do me. This is where I find a lot of good stuff. This one says nominations now open for the best of. So let's see what's there. And voting and submissions. So I'm gonna try to not pick anything that would be controversial. Let's see here. Funniest headline. Hiker lost on mountain for 24 hours, ignored calls from rescuers because he didn't recognize the phone number. Seriously. Oh, and why would anyone go outside in minus 50? Because it's so much fun to be there. Minus 50, most people are going to look at that and say, oh gosh, no, I'm staying in. And a lot of the time I do too. But I like to get out once a day, twice a day, go for a walk. Mostly just to say that I can, to say, hey, minus 50, I'm here. You can't beat me. I mean, you probably could if I were out for like 3 hours, but I'm not going to be. For half an hour, you can't beat me. You can't keep me home. That's my reason. And it's a valid question. I mean, a lot of people ask that question, but for me, it's all about saying I can. And I like it. It's peaceful out at minus 50 because nobody else is around. The snow crunches differently, and that's going to sound weird. Anyone who hasn't lived around snow is going to think I'm crazy, but the snow crunches differently under your feet when it's minus 50. It makes a different sound because it's colder. Winter stuff feels different because it's colder. Hot and cold feel different because it's colder. It's a challenge when you're walking and everything's normal, then all of a sudden, eyelash is frozen shut. What? That's a thing to experience at least once. You might not want to experience it more than once. I don't know. I don't really care. It trips me up briefly and then I wipe my eyes and I'm fine. But I recommend experiencing it at least once while you're dressed properly so that you can say you can. Not because you necessarily want to keep doing it, but to say, hey, that's a thing I did. -50, you can't keep me inside. Take a hike. Personal accomplishment. Yeah, I think that's probably what I'm getting at is personal accomplishment. It kind of falls into, like, I have a very strange, maybe strange is the wrong word. I'm very pleased with my outdoorsy skills. If you dropped me in the bush, I would be okay for a week. I don't know how much I'd end up eating because I don't really trust my plant identification, but I would survive. I would certainly have shelter, and I can light a fire if I have to. I would be okay. And maybe not in the jungle because everything, all the bugs, they'd bite me, they'd eat me, the snakes. Yeah, I probably couldn't survive the jungle. But northern Canada, stick me in northern Canada, I'll be fine. And that includes the winter. I can build myself a nice little winter shelter that's nice and windproof and cozy and all the rest of it. I've done it. I have done winter camping. I've done snowshoeing, skiing, the whole 9 yards. And it's, it's good. My honeymoon was a week-long backwoods canoe trip, and that was absolutely delightful. We went up to a place in northern Saskatchewan that was all bush and enormous dragonflies, and it was so much fun to just get out there, and there were no other people around. It was a place we'd never been before, so we didn't really have much of a map, and we didn't have a lot to go on in terms of where were we. It was just, well, I guess we kind of follow the signs. There's a canoe route, and I don't know, there's a flat spot, we'll pitch a tent there. It was a good time. So yeah, I would recommend it, but it feels good to be able to do things like that. It's only -30 where Aesthir is, and I happen to know where that is, and that place is not as cold in the winter as here. I'm going to spill my coffee. I'm going to spill it on my keyboard. Am I? No spills. Yeah, the snow, the air, the energy. It's okay to not want to go out for fun. That's the other thing. I mean, as much as I'm saying, do it, it's fun. It's not everybody's idea of fun. It's most people's idea of no fun. So, that's a thing too. Biggest reason that I get my kids out when it's -50 is to prove to them that they can. So that when they are older and they have a lot more freedom of choice of their lives, they can make that choice. Because it should be a choice, whether or not you go outside at -50. If you have things to do, let's say you need groceries or you need to pay some bills or you have to go to work and you don't have a car, you should be able to make the choice about whether or not you are safe going out at -50. And if you are safe, great. If you have those skills, that's great. And if that's not something that you ever want to do or be a part of, then you're totally free to do that too. It can be wonderful to hide inside, but the flip side of that is that I live in a place where it can be -50 for a couple months at a time, so I'm not really good at hiding inside. And to kind of add to that, I wouldn't do anything like go tobogganing today by any stretch, or if it's actually -50, I'm not going out usually for fun. I'm usually going out for things like work, or if I absolutely have to get groceries because I'm out of things. Incidentally, I'm not likely to ever be in that situation. I don't know if I've mentioned it. I probably have. I have prepper cans. I have probably close to a month's worth of prepper cans. So, I'm fine. It can snow. Let it snow. Let it get cold. Whatever. I'm good. Another side note for anybody who does live in a cold climate, when it gets this cold and it's humid, check your furnace vents and hot water heater vents outside and knock the ice off them, because if they get plugged, then they won't run. Hey, Pablo. Yeah, if the ice blocks your furnace or hot water heater vent, the system will fault and stop running. Keep your furnace running, check your vents for ice. Knock the ice off. Best advice I ever had for the winter. All right, so let's see. Back to these best of the year headlines here. I'm not a magician. Lawyer for man pictured with lectern in Capitol riot says photo a problem. I don't really get it, kind of. I guess I don't know the news about that one. Doctor sells newborn as couple fails to pay hospital bills in Punjab? Seriously? Wow. That's shitty. Okay, let's just have 3 cheers for socialized medicine right here. I've had 2 kids and hadn't had to pay hospital bills because socialized medicine. Wow, that is awful. Let's see here. Trying to stay away from politics. This is a gooder, even though it's politics, but 2 days after voting not to require masks, COVID-19 shuts down the Missouri House. That's a thing. Okay, so let's go back because there might be some betters here. Oh, have no hot water in the tub. It freezes when it's this cold. So no showers, no baths for a few weeks. Oh, interesting. Ours doesn't freeze. I've never had to deal with frozen water. I've always had just heat. I mean, my basement office is getting chilly. I'm not going to lie. I'm sitting here with a fleece vest and a flannel shirt, and I'm thinking I might want to layer a sweater on later and put on some slippers. But I haven't had to deal with frozen water, so I feel pretty fortunate. And if my furnace ever went out, I could always, I guess, light my gas oven until I deal with it. But that's something, and that's something Greg shared on the Facebook. There apparently was a post going around with a picture of an open oven that was turned on saying, "Oh, that's so wasteful, and don't heat your house this way." And he pointed out that some people don't have central heating and they don't have a choice when it gets really freaking cold. It hadn't occurred to me that anybody would actually mock that. So that's, I don't know, like maybe I live a privileged life. I don't know. I feel confused sometimes because so much of the survival stuff I've learned, like a really basic one that my dad told me was if your furnace ever goes out, just light your oven. And if the power goes out in winter, hey, you have a gas stove. You can light that fucker with a match. He used better language than that, but that's the essence of it. I can light my stove with a match and heat my house. Okay. I fail to see why that would be mockable, whether my power goes out or if I have, let's say I live in a place that doesn't have central heating. It's not anything to do necessarily with, like, maybe I could be super wealthy and just not have central heating because maybe I only need it 2 days out of the year, and so who cares? I don't. Anyway, point being, if people heat their house with their oven, don't mock them. They're warm and they're smarter than you if you're cold. So there you go. Not advice, not environmental advice, not financial advice, because it's probably expensive to heat your house with the oven. It uses a lot of power. Pablo's got some good advice here. Don't eat yellow snow. Yes, don't eat yellow snow. I agree. That's where the animals pee. Don't do it. More advice from my dad, because he's, he was full of it. If you have any kind of, if you live in a dry climate, because he was from Alberta, if you live in a dry climate and you're going away in the winter for a couple of weeks, put some water in your bathtub, just a couple inches. It'll evaporate most of the time over the couple of weeks, and keep your plumbing moist I guess he had some issues over the years with the caulking around his bathtub drain drying out while he was gone for a couple weeks. It sounds bizarre, but it can happen. It was dry. And yeah, you're welcome with the tip about the vents. It's, one of those things that I came across super useful. And yeah, we do get cold here. And it's you get used to it, but you never really like it. Like there was a reason that my dad went away for a couple of weeks in the winter to somewhere tropical, because it gets frickin' cold here. And really, if you can afford to go away during the frickin' cold, you should, because it gets frickin' cold. Who wants to hang out for that? Even though I might like going for walks at -50, I don't love being cold all the time. That's not my jam. It's no fun. So let's see here. Hot water in every other tap, just not the one in the tub, because the pipe is close to the exterior wall. That's a thing, yeah. What they do is slightly south of here, where they don't always have central heating and it sometimes freezes. They say to leave your tap on a trickle. Now, anyone who is environmentally friendlier than me is going to jump all over that and say, no, you don't leave your water on. That's stupid. But, that would at least supposedly it keeps it from freezing. I don't know if it works at -30. Really don't. Pablo says where he is, it stays the same and never snows. Well, okay. You can have some. I don't think it's going to last if I mail it, though. I'm pretty sure you can't mail snowballs successfully. I haven't tried. And in the dead of winter, it might, but I don't really want to find out. And yeah, how about just don't eat snow, whether it's yellow or not? Probably a good thought there, because it's likely loaded with bacteria. There was a time I don't know if it was last year or the year before, where they were doing some maintenance on the water line on my street in the middle of winter, because, why not? And we had emergency water tank, and I thought, well, if I'm bucket flushing the toilet, I may as well just get some snow from the backyard and fill the bathtub, and it'll melt, and I'll just use that. It was dirty. There was actually a surprising amount of visible crud in the snow. So probably, yeah, don't eat snow, because that's what I could see. I'm quite certain it was loaded with bacteria that I couldn't see. And side note, you can actually check that out for yourself. You can order Petri dishes and agar on Amazon and set it all up and swab your stuff, take a drop of water from, say, melted snow, leave it on your counter covered for a couple days, and see what grows. It's a really, really interesting experiment. If you're easily grossed out, I don't recommend it. But if you have never done it before, I highly, highly recommend it, especially if you have kids who don't like washing their hands, or kids who don't understand why they shouldn't eat snow or lick their mittens. Swab it, grow the bacteria, and show it to them, and they will be absolutely amazed, because you can tell them that there's bacteria there all you want. You can do the put some glitter on your hands and try and wash it off experiment and show them that their hand washing skills actually suck. But if you grow that bacteria, and Aesthir says you don't need Petri dishes, you can taste it. Yes, you can. But should you? I don't know. What are you tasting? Maybe. I mean, a small amount here and there probably is good for your immune system, but if it's the small amount of the wrong thing, I don't know if I want to deal with that right now in my life. I used to eat snow as a kid. I'm pretty sure it helped me out in the long term. In the short term as an adult, I don't want to. So that's just my thing. But yeah, bacteria has flavor. Anyone who doubts that, just have some cheese. Then have a different kind of cheese. They're a different flavor, different bacteria. All right, so let's take a look at some more of these headlines here, because this could be fun. This is actually not amazing. Ontario police investigating after alleged theft of $200,000 worth of butter. This is my kind of news. What? Near Belleville, Ontario, say 2 trucks were stolen from a facility in Trenton on Boxing Day, and each contained about 20,000 kilograms of butter. This is like when they stole the maple syrup, except it's not as good. The trucks were found in Toronto a day later, completely empty. The retail value of the butter is roughly $200,000. They say the suspects were dropped off near the trucking facility at the time of the alleged theft by someone driving a black SUV. Huh. That's so not what I expected. I mean, maple syrup I can kind of understand because it's you can't get it everywhere, but butter? I'm kind of surprised. Anyway, I guess that happened. So, let's see. Oh boy, not touching that one with a 10-foot pole. This could be good. Rats learn to play Doom in automated VR arena. Okay, tell me more, because I've heard about rats driving rat cars. Diddly-diddly-do. VR rig for rats. Stopped a plane on the runway because she was late. Yeah, that's... How did she get... let's go back to that, though, because how did she get onto the frickin' runway? That was a good headline. Where did it go? Runs onto Phoenix tarmac to stop the plane she missed. How did she get onto the tarmac? That's, according to the police report, the door to the jetway was already secured when she tried to catch a flight. Instead of waiting for the next flight, she ran through the glass door separating the passenger area and the secure airfield. It's not very secure if she can just run through them, yo. She was stopped by employees as she ran down a flight of stairs toward the nose of the airplane. According to police, she told employees she was attempting to have the plane stop so she would not miss her flight. Charged with first-degree criminal trespassing on a crucial public service facility, which is a felony in Arizona. Okay, so, yeah, the tarmac was clearly not secure if she was able to get through the doors. I don't know if it's actually secure, then you should have to enter like a passcode or have a key or something. But maybe they don't lock the doors for emergency services reasons. I don't know. So that's interesting. So let's see, what did I get out of this? The Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport has a very insecure tarmac. Anyone can run out there, but they'll probably catch you. Much like streaking across a football field. Okay, well, that's good. Let's see, back to the rats here. Rats are so interesting. Omnidirectional treadmill comprised of a polystyrene ball about the size of a bowling ball. Free to rotate with sensors detecting rotation in 2 axes. Okay, it's an upside-down mouse. The rat rides on top of the ball and wears a harness to keep it from slipping off. Curved monitor in front of the rat. Treat dispenser provides motivation. Powered drive wheels engage with the ball to nudge the rat if it gets stuck. He's trained 3 rats to walk down a straight hallway using this method. As for shooting monsters, there's a sensor that detects when a rat rears up on its hind legs to register a shot. Total training time to get to the rats to the point seen in the video, so I guess there's a video here, was about 6 weeks and cost $2,000. Huh. Okay. Interesting. So they've trained the rats to do these tasks, but do the rats understand what they're doing? Probably not. So that's a question. Let's see here. Oh, the IRS again says that income from stolen goods and illegal activities must be reported on taxes. Seriously, nobody's going to do that. 3 die after memorial candle lit in hospital ward. because it probably blew up some oxygen. I'm not even going to take a look at that. That is gruesome and terrifying. Man arrested after trying to take cocaine in police car. Wasn't he already arrested if he was in the police car? The man was first stopped by officers while driving. He tested positive for drink driving. Tried to take cocaine while being taken into custody in the officer's car. So he was arrested, I think, before that, wasn't he? Arrested for possession of drugs and drink driving. Okay, so they added a charge. That was worded goofy. Oh boy. Politics. Oh, there's some more about the butter heist. Well, I'm not seeing a ton of stuff here that's super amazing. A plant that sterilizes medical equipment spews cancer-causing pollution on tens of thousands of what? Oh, plant as in a factory, not plant as in green thing that grows. Okay. How is this picture relevant? What even is this? Oh, it's a picture of somebody who was diagnosed with leukemia. Okay. Oh, this is a thing. Okay, so Republica. I'm actually going to walk away from this one because it sounds like it could be something I can't get into without more education on the topic. Let's see. This could be good. Alexa tells 10-year-old girl to touch live plug with a penny. Was it a live receptacle? No, I don't want to register. Leave me alone. After it challenged a 10-year-old girl to touch a coin to the prongs of a half-inserted plug. Oh, well, shouldn't do that. The suggestion came after the girl asked Alexa for a challenge to do. Plug in a phone charger about halfway into a wall outlet, then touch a penny to the exposed prongs. That's like gonna electrocute you. Don't do it. Okay. I didn't even know you could ask your smart whatevers for challenges. I don't know how I feel about that. Okay, so they were doing some challenges that were good. And then it suggested the challenge it had found on the web. Oh. Okay, so the problem is that the internet is full of stupid, and the smart speaker doesn't know how to differentiate between stupid and good challenges. The penny challenge began circulating on TikTok and other social media websites about a year ago. Huh. Anybody else think Tide Pod challenge? I wonder what happened if you take your Tide Pod and touch it to a half-inserted plug. Let's not find out. Don't do it. Some metals, not all, conduct electricity. Pennies conduct electricity. Copper conducts electricity. Pennies are coated in copper. And inserting them into live electrical sockets can cause electric shocks, fires, and other damage, like killing you. You can lose fingers, hands, arms, said somebody, the manager at the fire station. Well, yeah, you can lose your life by getting electrocuted if you do it wrong. Ugh. Yeah, so Amazon updated that. they may want to update it so that it doesn't look for challenges on the internet and do unsafe shit. But I mean, how do you design this? Actually isn't a terrible question. How do you design artificial intelligence so that it doesn't recommend things that'll kill you? Like, how do you build that in? So that's a question for someone who knows these things, which would be not me. But yeah, because that's actually a tough question. All right, let's see. Trial and error. Yeah, pretty much. Have it kill a kid, tell Alexa no, and repeat. Well, yes. Maybe start with robot kids, though, instead of like real ones. Have some, well, yeah, oh, but kids ask stupid questions. So I guess to test it properly, you need kids, a range of average children and above average and below average children, some adults for supervision, and then just let the kids ask the Alexa all their stupid questions. Because sometimes you'd be astonished. Even the smartest kids can ask some really dumb shit. And it's nothing against kids. They're new. They have no idea what's going on half the time. So that's, yeah, that's a big one. Let kids ask all their stupid questions and see what Alexa comes up with and work on it that way. Yeah, that's probably a good idea, with, of course, adequate adult supervision so that, you know, nobody actually gets hurt, because kids are astonishing. And I mean, sometimes too, those questions where you might think, wow, that's stupid and it's going to get you killed, those might end up being the kids who go on to discover something amazing and save the world at some point. So it's not, don't take my kids say stupid things the wrong way. Sometimes kids say stupid things because they're on the path to amazing. They just need to get past the, hi, I'm a kid, I'm new here. All right, what else we got here? Washington state lawmakers introduced bill that would reduce penalties for drive-by shootings to promote racial equity. What? This is Fox, so, you know, hold your grains of salt here. What? The bill would eliminate drive-by shootings as the basis for elevating a first-degree murder charge to aggravated murder in the first degree, which carries a mandatory sentence of life imprisonment. Drive-by shootings were added to the list of aggravating factors for murder charges in 1995. Other aggravating factors include the murder of law enforcement officers, murders committed by inmates while they are behind bars, and murder for hire schemes. The aggravating factor the bill would eliminate reads, the murder was committed during the course of or as a result of a shooting where the discharge of the firearm is either from a motor vehicle or from the immediate area of a motor vehicle that was used to transport the shooter or the firearm. It's clear that it was targeted at gangs that were predominantly young and black. Well, yeah, but was it? I don't know enough here. Murder is murder. Locking people up and throwing away the key is not the answer. Well, I don't disagree, but like, how about we prevent some of the murders? Or keep it serious, because murder is freaking serious? Okay, so deconstruct this one here. Life imprisonment is maybe not the best answer. However, murder is still very serious. Whether the problem lies along racialized lines or not is irrelevant. Murder's a serious crime. I think that's what I'm getting out of this here. When drive-by shootings were added as an aggravating factor in 1995, the state was experiencing a surge in gang-related crime. In 1991, there were 3 gang-related homicides. In 1992, there were 17, 31 in 93, 26 in 94, 13 in 95. Okay. It's only been used once since it was instituted in 1995. Okay. A kid who was part of a gang since he was 11. Ew, that's really young. That's a bigger problem than just murder there. Played a role in a drive-by shooting when he was 18 that left a college student dead and 2 others wounded, and received a sentence of 777 years in prison. But what happened to the gang? And if he was part of a gang since he was 11, didn't that mean that somebody knew about the gang? And how could they not, do something about it? Pablo says life in prison here is 9 to 10 years. I don't remember what it is here, but it's longish. So, and yeah, 777 years in prison is really life in prison. But the problem is the gangs. So how do you deal with gangs? And that's a question for someone who's not me. If he'd been standing outside the vehicle at the time, he would have faced 240 to 320 months in prison. Okay, so that's a couple years. No, hang on. They're doing months and years. This is crap. Let's get the calculator out here. Okay, so use the big number. 320 divided by 12 is 26.66 years. So, okay. So 26 years in prison. Why would they give it in months and then give that one in years? That's irresponsible reporting. You need to keep your units the same. Yeah, 20 years if he was outside the car, and because he was inside the car, it's 777. That's ridiculous. Instead, he was sentenced to life in prison with no opportunity for parole because of this law. Well, 26 years is pretty much life anyway, so I don't know. Does it really make that much of a difference if you're in prison for life or if you're in prison and I don't know, whatever. This is the thing. The law's history and application is what we mean when we talk about systemic racism. Well, is it though? Because if the law was only actually applied once to one person, is it systemic racism? I'm not denying that there is obviously a racist problem in the States, because if there wasn't, this whole entire article and issue wouldn't exist. Clearly there is a problem, and the problem is huge. But the way this particular thing is being talked about, there's so many problems. So many problems. Gangs are the big one, though. He's turned his life around by founding a program called Teach, or Taking Education and Creating History, providing education and classes to inmates. Wonderful. Okay. The bill would retroactively apply to anyone who was convicted of aggravated murder in the first degree if a drive-by shooting was the only aggravating factor, meaning that he could potentially be freed from prison if the bill passes. Okay. And if he's turned his life around and is doing good things, I fail to see how that's a bad thing. But it sounds like maybe this law should never have happened in the first place because it's kind of ridiculous. And maybe the focus should have been on rehabilitation in the first place. But the focus, honestly, the problem with all of this is that the focus isn't on how to get rid of gangs. Because that's the problem. If you have an 11-year-old who is in a gang, that's the problem. the murder and all the rest of it that comes after is also a problem. Yes. And it's a very serious problem. Yes. Is it racialized? Probably. Tackle the gang problem. And whether it's done at a school level or a community level or a whatever level, fix the gang problem, and then you don't have the murder problem. This is not rocket science, and it doesn't necessarily have to mean things like defunding the police either. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of talk about defunding the police and getting special units together to deal with things like gangs and all the rest of it. Because when you're dealing with a freaking 11-year-old in a gang, you're dealing with a need for proper adult influence in a child's life. And policing doesn't necessarily fix that. So then you're looking at needing some social programs, and maybe there's something going on with the parents. And should Child and Family Services be involved? I don't know. I don't want to open that can of worms, because I know what happened when Child and Family Services got involved with the Indigenous population here, and it's been a shit show ever since. So should they be involved? I don't know. Should other adults be involved? I don't know. Should there be community programs with after school, something going on so that the kid has anything to do other than be in a gang? Should there be adult supervision ensuring that the kid actually goes to school? Because I'm pretty sure it's law that you have to go to school. So, like, where did everything fail? And that's the question I'd love to ask, and I can't. So they're debating a law and systemic racism and all the rest of it, and I'm saying that if this kid was in a gang since the age of 11, there were probably parents, teachers, aunts and uncles, community people who failed the kid. If I were hanging out in my neighborhood and noticed young kids wandering around and doing gang-like things, I would probably try to talk to them. I mean, if my kids ever came home and said something about gangs and whatever else, or illegal activity or doing things they're not supposed to, yeah, I would be talking to the principal. I'd be talking to the teachers. I'm not their parent, but as a community member, especially as somebody with kids in the community, I have a responsibility to act on what I see and hear, don't I? Don't I have a responsibility to care? I mean, maybe I don't, but if I don't, then that's just really fucking sad. I care whether or not some random 11-year-old that I don't know is going to be stuck in a gang. Anyway, let's see. Ace there says, it failed when Christians took slaves from Africa. Yep, sure did. That was a good place for the failing to start. And yeah. And it is a whole bucket of how do we fix that? Because it's not really better. If everyone was like that, we would see a difference. I would hope so. I know some people who are, and I know there are a lot of people out there who are doing good, but we need to, I don't know. The motion that I did was hitting my open hand with a fist. We need to pound that into people. You need to be there for your people, your community. Because that 11-year-old who's getting into a gang isn't just some random kid in a gang. It doesn't not affect your life. If that gang is in your community, it affects your life, whether you like it or not. If gangs are doing illegal activity, if people are involved in any kind of a drug lifestyle or any kind of a lifestyle where they are being told that murder is any way acceptable or any kind of violence, that is going to affect your community. Pablo says, in London here, you literally can't go to the store without kids threatening you with knives. That is a huge problem. And if those were my kids, you better believe they'd be hearing about it and they'd be staying home. It wouldn't... Yeah, and if it were my kids' friends, they'd be hearing about it from me too. I don't want to be everybody's mom, but you better believe I would be stepping in if that were in any way touching on my life. And it is a problem because if a kid is, and I guess that's the other thing, if a kid's threatening me with a knife, how do I act as an authority? I'm not really well trained in fending off knife attacks. I have like half an hour of entry level. This is kind of what you do with a knife attack training from like 30 years ago. So I'm not going to say it was good. That's, I guess, a valid question is personal safety. If I am going to try and talk to these kids, how do I do it in such a way that I stay safe? Are they threatening me with knives? Do I call their bluff? I don't know. This is a hard one. All right, so this got deep real fast, and we are now long into coffee time, and I should probably think about wrapping it up. So on that cheery note, it was not cheery, I would like to do some sort of a New Year's Eve something. I don't know what yet. I have New Year's Eve free-ish. I will be here. We could do something in the metaverse. We could do something on the online. We could hang out and talk. We could go play games together. We could hang out in the Discord and chat and share screens and stuff. But we need to do something on New Year's Eve. So if anybody has ideas, thoughts, plans, any of that, let me know because I'm around. I can live stream things. If you want to have an event and just have somebody there to share it, I can do that. Let me know. I'm on the Twitter. If you found this, then you found me on either the Twitter, the Discord, or the Telegram. So send me a message and we'll go from there. Have a better than it has been so far, cheerier day. I'm going to go find something cheery because so far it has not been cheery. And we'll see you. Tomorrow is Friday. Tomorrow morning, I will probably not be doing a coffee show. Kids are home. Saturday is a Saturday. No shows on Saturday. But next week, as of Tuesday, we'll be back into normal everyday coffee shows. Kids are back at school. Everything will be delightful and fun times, and life will return to normal. So enjoy life, and we'll see you sometime on New Year's Eve. Bye. Bye. Oh, there's another button.